Hello, hello, and welcome to Coaching Corner with me, Tracy Forsyth. So, today I want to talk about the combination of being a perfectionist and a people pleaser. So, here are a few statements. It's not enough that I'm perfect, others must be pleased with me as well. I can tell I'm delivering if everyone is happy with what I've done. People or I think I'm selfish or self-indulgent if I talk or think about my needs. I feel guilty taking time out for myself when I've got others to think of. So, are any of those sounding familiar as thoughts? And if that is a resounding yes that I hear, it may be that you're not only a perfectionist driven by excellence and achievement, but also that you're a pleaser, who gets their sense of self worth and security from other people's approval. A perfectionist people pleaser. I know that I have been definitely guilty as charged, my lord. And isn't it exhausting? It is exhausting being a perfectionist and a people pleaser. So, I kind of think like being a perfectionist people pleaser is like being on a hamster wheel of stress, punctuated with pockets of happiness in the form of achievement and affirmation. And listen, it's not all bad. Perfectionism can create outstanding results. And pleasing can mean that you put your talents into the service of others, making other people happy. But at what cost? I think it can lead to constant stress, constant chasing your tail, constant reaching for the next thing. And it's an exhausting way of being. It's depleting, it's energy sapping. And after a couple of decades doing it, try your 30s and your 40s, it gets really, really wearing. So, what to do along the way? So, firstly, I just want to acknowledge that I'm not going to stop perfectionists from having that drive and suddenly deciding you don't care a fig about what people think of you or your work is not going to work either. But these are some things that I believe and know can help, or certainly they've helped me. So, number one is just to create a vision of what success looks like. Whatever it is, whether it's a project at work, whether it's balance in your life, whether it's feedback from the team, sit down and think about what success looks like and write it down. Often we're battling with this idea of perfection, comparing ourselves to other people. It's just like, just this sense of I'm not there yet. But often we are battling with this idea of perfection without really defining what it is. So we don't have any goalposts. So if you have a clear vision of what success looks like, it's easier to recognize when you've achieved or when you've over-delivered. So number two is to celebrate your wins along the way. Now I find that a bit easier because I'm a big old show off, I suppose. But I think most perfectionists I know don't really do this because they've not had that as soon as they've had that fleeting hit of happiness, they're on to the next thing. They don't kind of like sit on their laurels. And I guess I used to be like that. So when you do achieve something, just force yourself to take time to celebrate your achievements, mark them, acknowledge them, post about them, as a marker, whatever you need, just really make sure that you are celebrating your wins along the way. So number three, and this is for the kind of like the pleasing tendency, is I think if you are fueled by recognition, if you are fueled by positive affirmation, then make sure you are getting it. How do you do that? Well, you get feedback from others. Often we're waiting for this approval or validation and it doesn't come. Why? Well, because often people don't think that we need it, right? We're perfectionists. We're brilliant at what we do most of the time. So ask for the feedback. Are you happy with such and such is the simplest. Yeah. So this way you ensure you get that feedback and the affirmation that you need. And don't be too worried. I mean, I can hear you kind of thinking, yeah, but what happens if I get bad feedback? Well, if you get bad feedback, then that's development. That's a different story. But make sure that you're getting the product. What were you happy with? You could ask. Okay, so number 4 is to challenge your inner critic. Often these thoughts creep in, but they're normally fears or values expressing themselves. So stop and listen. What's your inner critic saying? Is it factually correct, or is there no evidence for what it's saying? Huh? What is the fear or value it's trying to express? Can you bring it out into the light? And discussing it with somebody helps. I have this voice that says ... Bring it out into the light. And number 5 is make recharging your batteries a must-have, not a nice-to-have. You cannot run on empty. You cannot deliver perfection and delight others if you have nothing left in the tank. So whatever your recharging methods are, make sure they are part of your daily life. This does mean prioritizing what they call self-care. I mean, I think it's just, it shouldn't be called self-care. It's just like making sure that you can exist properly. Yeah. If you were a racehorse about to run a race or compete, you wouldn't be snacking on junk food. You'd be having high quality oats or whatever. So make sure you are treating yourself like a prize winning racehorse. Okay. So I hope that helps. That's it for this week. Take care of yourself. There is only one of you. All right. I will see you next week. Take care.